Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? And we are in the final days. We're in the final stretch. It seems like Daniel Jones has played his last couple of snaps as the New York Giants starting quarterback. Now, anything can happen. People can get hurt. He could end up back out there, but I highly doubt it. That injury clause is going to pretty much keep him out for the rest of the year. So let's take a look at his last game as a New York Giant. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't really that good. And it just kind of summarized what his career has been like so far as a New York Giants quarterback. So we're going to get Hyatt in motion, and he's going to get a free release, go up the left sideline, and essentially this should have been a walk-in touchdown if Hyatt isn't interfered with. So you're going to see Hyatt get off the line of scrimmage, get outside, does a good job just getting past his guy, and he just gets grabbed. So this may not be a walk-in touchdown, but he gets grabbed here. And if he's not grabbed, this ball is right in the bucket. And I would say this is my favorite throw of the day from him. It ends up drawing that penalty. It's being aggressive. He throws it with anticipation before he clears the DB, which is what I've been asking for forever. And we just can't connect there because, the DB just grabs him, which is something that we should always get in the NFL. But at the same time, he probably only throws this because he's got somebody offsides. Probably only throws this because someone's offsides. You see there's a flag there, and he just takes that shot. But nonetheless, that's a good throw there. So in this play, you're getting some cover 3 action. You're getting some cover 3. I think this safety drops back. If he didn't drop back, then other safety did. But you got 3 guys dropping back, and Malik Neighbors is going to run essentially a comeback route. And he's going to be right there, and he's going to be wide open. And during the broadcast, I was like, this has to be some kind of a miscommunication. So take a look at Daniel Jones. He's going to drop back and set his feet. I mean, no pressure. And the ball just sails. And it's like, no, it isn't a miscommunication. It's just an inaccurate pass. I just don't know what happened here. If you look at his feet is kind of pointed outside. I'm not a quarterback guru. I'm not like the quarterback school. But if you look at his foot when he throws the ball, his foot is pointed this way. If I can draw it here, so his foot is kind of pointed in a weird direction already, and he's throwing the ball this way. So because the foot is pointed this way, it makes it seem like that's what made the ball sail. But even then, I mean, as an NFL quarterback, off balance, off platform, not even off balance, but your feet aren't perfectly set, this is still a routine ball. And it just sails on them. So this next play, I'm only going to be showing this view just because you can see it the best. This ends up being a screenplay here to Devin Singletary, and it just makes me think, why even make things complicated? And you'll understand what I say when you take a look at this. This is a screen, and he takes sacks on 4th down, but he won't take a sack here. So you got Singletary in the midst of blocking. No one's open. The screenplay is done. And yes, it ends up hitting the turf, but why even throw it in this direction? Why allow, this ball to bounce off of a guy's shoe up into the air and it get intercepted? No reason to even put it in any sort of danger. So, I mean, throw it in the dirt. And when I say throw it in the dirt, I mean, like, aim it like right here. But even still, I mean, I feel like it's kind of asking for something crazy to happen. Luckily, he's able to put it in the dirt, but it's kind of ridiculous to even put it in this type of harm, because again, this guy is inches away from grabbing it. Not too much, but you all get the point. Just throwing it in this direction, we've kind of seen things go bad, especially when a guy is about to hit his arm. It just becomes really difficult. I think that's how he threw that interception a couple of weeks ago. So the guy hit his arm when he was trying to do that. All right, so here the Giants are running a concept that I just spammed forever in Madden. I mean, I spammed this concept all day. You're going to have the tight end running this way. You're going to have Malik running the corner. You're going to have Wandale running it out. And you're going to have him kind of clearing out, just kind of like a drive. So this is essentially the play. And this is a play, I mean, even from Madden, this is really difficult to stop because you have a lot of eye candy here. So let's take a look here. I think first off, the tight end may be open here. Tight end may have that leverage here to catch this there. But my biggest problem here is Daniel Jones has to read this corner here. So this corner that's dropping here in this cover 3, if this corner decides to take on Malik Neighbors, then you go here. If this corner is playing kind of short, then you're throwing it to Malik Neighbors because you're gonna have a basically a cover 2 kind of hole shot. Not a cover 2, but it's going to essentially look like a cover 2 hole shot. So take a look. This corner is driving down on Wandale. He plays it pretty well, but essentially the ball is late. So if this ball is thrown with anticipation as soon as he's breaking out, he may have a shot to catch this, but just kind of put his receiver in a bad situation there. He's going to get crunched because it's pretty easy for this corner to just take a look at this and shut this play down. He got hit pretty hard there. All right, so this is what made Daniel Jones playable. This is what got Daniel Jones into the playoffs in 2022 is he's able to run these options, and he's a really effective runner. He just is. He's a really effective runner. He's a guy that can get yards after contact as a quarterback, and that's something that's really valuable. So just take a look at this option here. He's going to keep this, and he's going to drive these defenders back an extra 5 yards to pick up that first down. And I mean, that's the kind of thing that you see that just gets you hyped. Take another look here. And you're just going to see how much he moves these guys for literally an extra 5 yards. Just dropping the shoulder, and he just kind of looks clumsy. He looks like a baby deer when he's doing it. So again, as I always say, there is always nuance in every single play. And Daniel Jones is definitely a quarterback of nuance because this is a great throw. It's on time to Jalen Hyatt. And at the same time, it's kind of high. So it's well timed, it's well placed as far as where it is on the field. It's the perfect read. But it's just like maybe put the ball a little bit lower so he can just catch it and run. Or he can catch it and protect himself if he doesn't have that space. Because essentially what's happening is you're putting the ball pretty high up in the air and you're exposing his ribs. I know some people aren't going to like that because they want somebody to come out here and just say, oh, this was the greatest play of all time, or this is the worst. But like I said, there's nuance. So this is the right read. This is the right throw, but the ball should be a little bit lower. But nonetheless, it moved the chains. No issue with that. Move the chains. But again, we have to analyze things when we're looking at this tape, or else there's no point in looking at the tape. You might as well just watch the game and move on to the next week. All right, so this is a tough play design from Brian Dable. You're going to get basically some kind of a post route, but Hyatt is going to start off outside here. And you're going to get some kind of a post route. It's going to start outside, almost like a fade, and then it goes into an inside post. You're going to have Wandale Robinson running this crosser here, and he's going to be open. Actually, this is really the shot right there that could have been hit. And they're going to have Malik Neighbors just running across here. He's going to be open too. So this ball ends up going to Malik Neighbors. But just take a look here at Wandale Robinson there. If Daniel Jones is paying attention to Wandale Robinson, this pass is here. If it's thrown out far enough, he probably catches this and scores. So I just don't want to hear about Brian Dable not being a competent coach because he's obviously set his guy up to make a ton of these throws that are big plays, and we just can't hit those throws. But nonetheless, it's fine. You're looking at Malik Neighbors. He's your number one target. This throw has to be put in a place that gives Malik Neighbors a chance to catch the ball. And it's not. It's behind. And that's the difference between a first down and nothing. This ball could have possibly been hit in the air and intercepted. But this ball has to be thrown a little bit lower, a little bit further out this way, so that way Malik can catch the ball and either go down or try to break a tackle. But once you throw it up and behind, that is a recipe for disaster. And of course, that wasn't the only time that happened. This was just beyond frustrating here. I mean, you got two guys that are wide open. This isn't the exact routes that they were in, but essentially, they're both open downfield, and Daniel Jones doesn't hit either one of them. Now, I was looking at my TV and I was angry. I was on stream. I was mad that Brian Dable decided to go for it here and run a flea flicker instead of just running the sneak that's worked for us all year long. I just had no idea why. But this is why, because Brian Dable was watching tape and Brian Dable knew that there would be an opportunity here on a flea flicker. So this goes off to Tyrone Tracy. He gets the ball back, and look, you should be catching the ball with the idea of I'm going to throw it to someone that's open. You should not be catching the ball to relax. This is a flea flicker. Most often on flea flickers, the quarterback is going to get hit. He's going to get obliterated. But you're catching this ball and you're skittish as soon as you touch the ball. It's like you're scared, like you didn't expect these guys. And I know Daniel Jones isn't scared to get hit because he gets hit all the time. But he just catches this ball and takes forever to set his feet and doesn't even throw it. Like, I mean, what if he throws this ball, right? And it goes short and this guy ends up running underneath this and intercepting it because he just gets hit and the throw goes so short. Well, guess what? You just threw an interception and the other team has the ball. So what? It's fourth down. There's no way that you can't get this ball in any part of this vicinity to where Wan'Dale Robinson is. There's no way you can't get that ball there. He sees it and he's not sure of himself and he doesn't throw it. And we take a sack on fourth down. And Brian Dable gets the blame for it. I mean, there's no way. This is egregious. There's no way that this can happen. There's no way that this can happen. Because he's in the throwing motion there. The ball should be thrown. And people can say, well, he's not lined up to throw it to Wan'Dale. Well, he should be. And since he's not, guess what? Malik Neighbors is open too. So the ball should be going to one of these guys. And for some reason, he just tucks it back in and takes a sack. So this next play is a firm example of how Daniel Jones is being graded on a curve by a lot of people, because this is a play that I look at and I say, it wasn't really his fault. But at the same time, this is a play that quarterbacks make all the time. They make these plays all the time. And what I mean is they throw it around guys that are right in their face all the time. They can sidearm it, and he just didn't do it. You're playing against J.D. Clowney. I mean, first team all athleticism in the league. The guy got drafted for just being an athletic freak. And you think that you're going to throw the football over top of this guy that's like 6'4", with, like, you're not going to throw it over top of him. That ball has to go around somehow. That ball has to, you got to change the trajectory. He even tries to jump to do it. But you're messing with J.D. Clowney. So this is a ball that should have been thrown around, or should have been at least thrown away. And instead, it gets tipped and it gets intercepted. And again, people look at this and say, this isn't necessarily his fault. It's just kind of bad luck. But at the same time, how many times have we seen one of our DBs or one of our linebackers and the other quarterback's face this year, and they just throw it right around them, and we get gashed? This is what we need at quarterback, and this is what we do not have at quarterback. This next play says it all for why they're sitting Daniel Jones on the bench because of that injury clause. I mean, if this guy takes many more hits like this, it is not going to be good for anybody. Not going to be good for, he gets crunched right there. You do not want this guy taking those kinds of hits on the hook for $23 million next year. And then it's like every once in a while you get good Daniel. You get good Daniel on this slant right here. You got a quick slant to the slot to Theo Johnson, and the ball is placed perfectly. The ball is just placed perfectly. I mean, that's exactly what you want there in your own goal line. And, all of a sudden this guy shows up sometimes. All right, so keep an eye here on Malik Neighbors. He's going to essentially run a post route here, and he's going to be open. And the problem is not that Daniel Jones targeted him because he was open. The problem is that it's late and it's not throwing anticipation. How many times are we going to go over this? Well, obviously not anymore because he's not going to be playing anymore. But this ball should be thrown when he's coming out of his break. It should be thrown before he comes out of his break, and it should be arriving to him when he comes out of his break. Instead, it's kind of late, and he gets upended. and he almost has another concussion. And this is like literally how you get your receivers hurt. This is how you get your receivers hurt because this ball is late and high. All right, so the issues have been ball placement, it's been anticipation, it's been all of the things that you need to do to be a routinely good quarterback in the NFL. And you're going to get this route here from Tyrone Tracy. And Tyrone Tracy, number one, has got to hold on to the ball because he fumbled, I think, a play before it, and his fumble went out of bounds. And of course, he fumbled at the end of the game. But he's got to catch the ball and hold on to it here. And because this ball is he's contorting his body to go grab it, it becomes a difficult catch, and he kind of loses the ball. He drops it, and the guy is able to catch this and turn it into an interception. But ball placement is very important because if he puts this further out, he may be able to catch this, and Malik Neighbors may be able to block this guy, and he may be able to score. But instead, the ball's a little bit late, it's behind, and you get an interception. And this isn't, like this isn't one of those things where it's like horrible decision by Daniel Jones, horrible read, but it's one of those things where if the ball is placed where it's supposed to be, you got a touchdown or at least a completion for 3 yards. Anything is better in this situation than turning the ball over in the red zone. All right, so you're going to get here a disguise cover 4 is making it look like these guys are all dropping back. But essentially, you only got him dropping back, and him dropping back. So you got a cover 3 here. And Daniel Jones takes advantage. He sees Malik Neighbors on this double move, and he just lets it go. And listen, this is a way to go out, DJ. That ball could have been caught. Malik Neighbors is clearly interfered with. It should have, at the very least, been a penalty. But this ball is placed in a spot where Malik Neighbors, had a chance to catch it. It showed, he had trust in Malik Neighbors, and I just trust it. I mean, I just respect the confidence to just throw it in there, and what a way to go out. He ended up putting together that last minute drive to a couple of open guys, but here it is where I really wanted to highlight. At least he went out firing. So I'll stop it here because this is the Daniel Jones I want to remember. I don't want to remember that guy that we saw for the last 5 years. I want to remember the guy we saw in 2019. Keeping it real, Daniel Jones has had the same issues even since 2019. Throwing it with anticipation. The accuracy was great as a rookie, but since then the ball placement has been off. Just seeing things that he's not comfortable with and just panicking. Seeing things and just completely just being out of his body and making mistakes. He has dealt with the same issues his entire career. Hasn't always had the best situation, but he has not been someone who has put on a cape and saved the day more than a few times, more than a handful of times. And it's really unfortunate that it ended up like this way. And it's really unfortunate that it ended up like this, but it is what it is. Wish him the best. Probably will not see him again in the Giants uniform. But you guys let me know what you think of Daniel Jones's probably last game as a New York Giants quarterback, and where do you think you'll see him again?